game.
Yes.
He tried.
I agree with
But do you? It's a question that I asked a lot of fans, and he prefers to play on the left wing. That is his natural position. Do you ever have this concern where we might never be able to see the best version of a player who has great potential like Rodrigo, where if he never plays as his natural position, because he'll never be. It's going to be Vinny, then Mbappe, and then he's going to be the third choice if there's an injury.
Yeah, that's perfectly plausible. That's It's quite likely that happens, that you don't see the very, very best of him. But I think he's good enough to play on the right. I think he's good enough to play with some freedom, drifting around the forwards and kind of coming inside a little bit. I think this is the nature, though, of a club like Real Madrid. When you're a club like Real Madrid, and really and truly there's not many clubs of this size, in fact there's no one quite this big, but what I mean is there's not many clubs that have this issue that Real Madrid have, and you go and look for the very best players in the world. By definition, who are the best players in the world? Nearly always they're the attacking players who are used to having freedom, who want to play either at the front or off the front, who want to come in off the wing, who want to have the freedom to do what they want to do. And that's fine for one of them. It might even be okay for two of them. But if you're going for three or even four, and you look at that front four for Real Madrid, Vinicius, Mbappe, Rodrigo, even Bellingham, all of them want a degree of freedom. Not 100% freedom, but a degree of freedom. And so, yes, that's a problem. I guess the bigger issue might be, at what point does Rodrigo himself think, actually, I will risk going to a club that's not as big as this one so that I can be my biggest version? And that's a possibility. In fact, to be honest with you, I've been pleasantly surprised how much he's played this year. And I thought he might be in for a very frustrating year in which the inevitable conclusion was him leaving at the end of it. I now don't think that will happen. But in September, I thought that would happen.
No, I completely resonate with what you're saying, because even I had similar thoughts, because I kind of felt the diamond formation would be carried on from the last season. Is going to be Mbappe, Vinny up front, but it is what it is. But the best part is Carlo Ancelotti has a huge challenge to make them fit, and the clock is ticking. Like, there's patience, there's like boos that were there at the Celta game. You want results, but there's also a style of play that is expected because of the players you have at your disposal.
Yes, and that's exactly right. Look, Ancelotti said something yesterday in the press conference which I thought was quite interesting, and it was him trying to put a positive spin on this. And he said, look, I could take one of the forwards out and have a bit more balance. I could take two out. I could take three out. But then I won't have 60 goals. And of course, he knows that in truth, in terms of creating a structure and a balance, this is a problem. But it's a nice problem because these are great players. And I think what Ancelotti is saying to people is, listen, if you want all of these players, you have to accept that we have some of these difficulties. And of course, he's not just saying that to the fans. He's saying that to the club itself. He's saying that to Florentino. He's saying that to Jose Angel. He's saying it to the players. He's saying, listen, you want to play this way. Okay, you have to do some of these things. And I think the big thing, of course, is he's saying to Vinicius and Mbappe in particular, you have to work. And I know it's not easy to do it all the time, but particularly in the big games, you have to do it. Now, I personally think that one of the reasons why Real Madrid in recent years have won lots of Champions Leagues and not many league titles is because actually it's easier for them in the Champions League to do that because they know it's a big game, because it's Man City or Chelsea or Liverpool or Bayern Munich or PSG. With the greatest of respects, it's not Leganés or Osasuna or Levante or someone where the players can think, wow, it'll be all right. And of course, they're right. Most of the time it is okay. It's fine. Most of the time you'll win anyway. But every now and again you'll get caught. And I think in Europe, Madrid have a different humility about them and a different effort about them. Now, I don't think it's 100% enough. I think you've got to have some other things, but I think it helps.
Definitely. And he would be hoping that the motivation continues to the knockout phase of the Champions League. You're facing Pep Guardiola, who's never an easy opponent. Even though he's going through a tough phase where he spent 200 million euros, I'm just going to repeat that. But tough phase, but he's Pep Guardiola. He knows some way or the other he would find a way to win. And
okay, so this is where I slightly disagree. Okay, so obviously it's Guardiola. He's got brilliant players, and he's no doubt about it, a brilliant football manager, and he will find ways to win most games. But against Real Madrid, that hasn't always been the case. And I think one of the amazing things about Real Madrid in the way that they've won the Champions League in recent years, not just the miraculous year, but all of these years, is that they've had that ability to be lots of different things. And I think that makes it hard to analyse them. And I think sometimes it means that we look at them and we think, we're not sure that they're that good considering the players they've got, but they always have someone who produces something at the right moment. And I think actually with Guardiola, he finds a way to win. I think the argument would actually be the opposite, which is say Real Madrid always find a way to win. You know, Real Madrid against Manchester City in the last, what have they played, 4 times in 6 years? 4 times in 5 years, I think it is. If you go through those games one by one, and you take it as a whole 90 minutes, and forgive me for saying this because I realise that most of your viewers are Real Madrid fans, I think, let's take so they've met 5 times, that's 10 games in total. I think Manchester City were probably the better team across 90 minutes in 9 of those 10 games. But Real Madrid always found the moments when they were better. And those moments were enough because Real Madrid have an amazing... my theory on this, I've come up with this theory before, that I think that Real Madrid in the Champions League have an absolutely amazing combination of massive arrogance, which says, we're better than everyone else. We'll find a way.
Which is true.
We'll find a way. But incredible humility. Now that humility comes, I think, in something very interesting with Real Madrid in the Champions League. Normally when a team is brilliant, and Real Madrid are brilliant, and when it has brilliant players, and Real Madrid have brilliant players, and it comes up against a team like Manchester City that takes the ball off you, that dominates you for 60, 70, 80 minutes, I think good teams in situations like that think, we're in trouble. We're screwed. Real Madrid have this amazing ability to accept that, to say, so they're better than us. We accept that. We know it can happen. And I think big clubs don't know how to accept that. And I think Real Madrid have had an amazing ability to have the humility to say, we know that this team, that shouldn't be as big as us, because no one's as big as us, is better than us for 70, 80, even 85 minutes. But we trust that if we hang in there, if we fight, if we hold on, even if we don't play very well, we will get a chance at some point, and then it's up to us to take it. And of course what Real Madrid have is an absolutely phenomenal ability to take that chance.
And when they take that chance late into the game, that happened like
then the
2
other
years.
team completely shits
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah, exactly.
That's the other thing. I mean, look, when Real Madrid scored the first against City, and they still needed a second to take it to extra time, I was there with English colleagues, and I just started laughing. And the guy next to me said, they're still not going to do it. I said, you watch. They will do it. The ball will only be in play for 40 seconds, but that's all they need. Because City are terrified, and Real Madrid, and this whole place goes, you know what? It takes one moment. Now, of course, you're not always going to get that moment, but a lot of the time you are.
And consistently, they have got those moments. Like Jose Lu last year.
Do you know one of the reasons I think why they get these moments is very, very simple. They have very good players. They have a lot of players that can make those moments happen. Even Real Madrid's bad players are better than most teams' good players. So you mentioned Jose Lu. Jose Lu is not, the greatest player on earth, but he's a great striker. He understands that when the ball drops, he's there, and he's there. And if you watch that Jose Lu goal, now look, it is true that the goalkeeper messes it up, and that Real Madrid are very lucky that the goalkeeper messes it up. But Jose Lu is twice as quick as anyone on that pitch. And Jose Lu's not fast, it's here. It's all here. Brilliant.
Mentality and the belief with the fans.
And
good
mentality and belief, and just really, really good players. And really good players will eventually find a way. Not always, of course, but a lot of the time.
And they are finding a way right now.